Emotional damage.
I'm gonna come.
Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
I can't understand you.
Cut the music. Welcome to the Derek O'Shea Show. We got some breaking insane news. Are you ready? Who is Linda Sun? A former aide to Kathy Hochul. There she is, busted. Previously served under Governor Andrew Cuomo as well. Sound familiar? It did to me as well. She held significant roles, including Deputy Chief of Staff involved in diversity and inclusion. Cut the music. Linda Sun worked for Governor Kathy Hochul. Also, Anthony Cuomo was involved in diversity, equity, inclusion for the government. Sun, along with her husband, Hochul, Linda, was arrested for allegedly acting as agents of a Chinese government. Oh, Democrats are so aligned with China. We love it. She held significant roles, including Deputy Chief Staff, and she was especially involved in DEI, of course. Sun, with her husband, Chris Hu, was arrested for allegedly acting as agents of the Chinese government. They are accused of manipulating state policy in favor of China, receiving benefits like cash payments and gifts. Oh, busted. Should have used Bitcoin. Loser. Including specially cooked salted ducks. Gotta love those ducks. Gotta have some Peking duck. In return of their services for salted duck, Sun is accused of blocking Taiwanese officials from accessing high-level New York state officials. Nuh-uh, not in my neck of the woods. Altering state messages in favor of China and facilitating trips for high-level politicians in China. She reportedly removed references from Taiwan and avoided addressing China's treatment of the Uyghur Muslims. She's acting in favor of China. What shall we do? Who is this woman? Aren't you surprised? Are you even surprised that China is meddling in our elections? Meddling with Democrats. They always like to say the Republicans are like basically, Republicans are basically working for Putin. I swear to God. But in reality, they're doing it with China. Former high-ranking New York State government employee charged with acting as an undisclosed agent of the People's Republic of China and the Chinese Communist Party. This is from the DOJ. This isn't just me making up stories or me getting excited that a Democrat is in trouble. She, along with her husband, were acting as an axis of evil. What are your thoughts on this shocking detail? The revelation of Sun's alleged activities has sparked insane discussions online and social media. People are freaking out, per usual. How could a Chinese spy find herself into the Democratic Party? How could that rhetoric? How could this happen? Well, we have some old clips of her, and it makes total sense. And here's a fake account of her that I don't think is real, but I'm not totally sure. And here is her talking about diversity, equity, inclusion. So listen to this very carefully because, you know, if you work for China and you also are for DEI, you think that's pretty commie, right? And the main critique of DEI is that it is very communistic in rhetoric and tone and language. And they're like, nah, it's just like means like black people have a voice. Okay, Here we go.
I think, when people say diversity and inclusion, I think everybody agrees, or most people generally agree that it's a good thing, right?
No.
But I think right now we also need to bring in the word equity, right? Diversity is when you say that there's, many different.
Yeah. Typical of a Chinese spy wanting to bring in equity. Surprise, surprise.
Types of people with
alleged Chinese spy. Sorry. Lawyers are here.
Different backgrounds, and they're all, invited to the table. Inclusion is when, we include all of their ideas. But equity is when we make sure that all of the people who are at the table have equal access to making sure that their ideas and their thoughts are heard.
Like in China.
And unfortunately, I think some of the statistics that you quoted is that we don't have that much leadership or representation.
Right. So where did she come from? Where did she go? How did she get her start in politics? Well, we found out. I got my start in politics from Gracie Meng, a CCP agent.
Never happened before. And for myself, as well as Sandra, we both consider Congresswoman Grace Meng to be an amazing, friend as well as mentor, because I got my start in, sort of government and politics because of her. I joined her campaign, back in 2008, and was able to sort of never happened before.
Okay. How did you get your start? How did this happen? Most importantly, how is the media responding? And more importantly, the South Chinese, how are they taking the news that one of their agents got totally busted on the job? Let's see how China is taking it.
Watch your step. Carefully, you're going to turn. Pardon me. Watch your back.
Ex-aide to New York's governor has been charged with acting an unsolicited CCP agent. Both Sun and her husband Hugh face criminal charges, have pleaded not guilty. 4 officials in Beijing, New York City's consulate, were accused of being co-conspirators. How could this happen?
A lot of the allegations in this
Morning, Miss Barry.
Perplexing, overly inflammatory. As you heard in court today, we're looking forward to
the microphone.
The defendants are.
Do you hear the media in the background? Come to the microphones. Come to the microphones.
Exercising their right to a speedy trial as soon as they can. We have a lot of confidence in Chris and Linda.
What is happening? But most importantly, how will MSNBC do this ad first, and then we'll get into the news? It's important to see what our Communist Party thinks about
a former top aide to New York Governor Kathy Hochul is set to be arraigned in just a matter of minutes for allegedly acting on behalf of the Chinese government.
What?
The FBI arrested Linda Sun and her husband, Chris Hugh, at their home on Long Island, less than an hour from Manhattan. It's the same home the FBI agents raided just 6 weeks ago. NBC Chief Justice contributor Jonathan Dienst is following this.
Tell us what to think.
What more do we know about this alleged scheme?
Yeah, federal prosecutors say while she was working for Governor Hochul as a top aide, Linda Sun was also working as an agent for the Chinese government.
No.
They say in exchange, Sun and her husband laundered millions of dollars out of China. Linda Sun and
there's that part as well that I didn't get to, that I was leaving for the very end.
Her husband were arrested at their $4 million home on the North Shore of Long Island.
How can an aide live in a $4 million home? It's just so stupid. If you're going to be a Chinese spy, maybe don't live in a $4 million home. It brings a lot of attention. China, let me help you out, dog.
The FBI says the pair also bought luxury cars, a property in Honolulu, and took travel and expensive.
China, they're not sending their best.
And some gifts, all as part of this scheme. Sun served in high-ranking roles in Albany, working for Democrats like Governor Hochul, former Governor Cuomo, and then Assemblywoman Grace Meng, who is now in Congress. The FBI says in exchange for those kickbacks, Sun used her position to help communist Chinese officials. For example, the Fed say Sun worked to block representatives from Taiwan from meeting with New York State officials, that she allegedly changed public messaging from Governors Hochul and Cuomo on many issues, including trying to edit out statements about China's record on human rights. The FBI says she also sent unauthorized letters of invitation from New York State to Chinese officials to help facilitate their travel into the U.S. The couple is expected to plead not guilty in federal court in Brooklyn. Governor Hochul's office issued a statement.
We terminated her employment in March 2023 after discovering evidence of misconduct. Is that the word we're using, Kathy? You don't want to use, well, it turns out she might have been a CCP agent. Why are these CCP agents always cozying up to Democrats? I can't believe this is on Long Island as well. After discovering evidence of the misconduct, immediately reported her actions to law enforcement and have assisted law enforcement throughout the whole process.
A short time ago, that Sun was terminated in March 2023 after discovering evidence of misconduct.
So the DEI officer for the Democrats is a potential CCP agent. If that doesn't tell you what DEI is all about, I don't know what will. It's not just, raising up black voices. It's not just, we want to make sure everyone has a seat at the table and everyone has a voice. Do you have a voice? And do you have a voice? We're tired of white men just being the only people with voices. That's like a coup. They're pulling on your emotional strings to draw you in. So you go, oh yeah, I haven't had a voice. You know what? I am sick of white guys. I wonder how CBS will respond.
Tonight, Governor Hochul responded to the federal criminal charges filed against her former aide.
Linda Sun is accused of working as an illegal agent to the Chinese government. As Ali Bauman reports, federal prosecutors allege Sun took millions of dollars in kickbacks and used her position to help the communist.
Millions of dollars in kickbacks. Millions of dollars. I mean, seriously, if you're going to become some kind of psychotic Chinese spy, maybe don't act like you're receiving millions of dollars in kickbacks.
Communist Party.
Linda Sun and her husband, Chris Hu, held hands silently Tuesday, walking out of federal court in Brooklyn. Her attorney speaking briefly after the couple made bond.
We have a lot of confidence in Chris and in Linda. Thank you.
In a 64-page indictment, federal prosecutors allege Linda Sun acted as an undisclosed agent of the Chinese government and Chinese Communist Party.
If you would only just disclose who you are, we would be totally fine with it. We are such a silly country that we allow, Chinese foreign investors to buy up property near military bases or just farmland in general. And then we allow people like her to get into our politics. How can we be a serious country? How can we be taken seriously if we just allow other countries to just manipulate us? Because I know that we do the same in a lot of other countries as well. But you would think of the mega power in the world would be more on top of everything. Just reading this article. 65-page bombshell. I just can't believe she lived in a $2 million home. I mean, it's almost like she knew what she was doing and was hoping to get away with it. Her bond's at $1.5 million. While her husband's at $500,000. They are ordered not to travel beyond New York City, Maine, or New Hampshire, aka see ya. He's known to own a number of businesses, so he's laundering his money, including a liquor store in Queens, along with the medical firm set up during the pandemic. Oh, God. In her now deleted LinkedIn profile, Sun promoted her role in New York's response to the pandemic, where she boasted of spearheading the procurement of COVID-19 PPE equipment. Ay. Some of the most scammy stuff out there. She was doing what she was told. Oh, of course. It's not even she was told. I'm sure she was also excited to do these sort of things. I mean, how can you allow this kind of stuff in a serious country. She was in, oh, sorry. I was wrong. It's a $4 million mansion.
I'm gonna come.
Oh my God. $4 million. Cash. Paying for it, cash. Don't know where that cash comes from. Don't ask. Son and her husband, Christopher Hugh, are accused of earning millions of dollars in kickbacks from the Chinese Communist Party. You're not supposed to do that. That's what Nancy Pelosi will teach you, how to become a millionaire. You don't have to get it from China. Millions of dollars in kickbacks from the Chinese Communist Party, helping fund a lavish lifestyle that included $2 million Hawaii condo as well, and a 2024 Ferrari. They're not sending their best. They're not sending their best. How could she be aligned with a Democrat? How could this happen in the greatest country of all? It just doesn't make sense. What are your thoughts on this? How do we get foreign agents out of our own government? And in the name of diversity and inclusion, does this like kind of end the case for diversity and inclusion? No, but it should. You know, if a Chinese spy is pushing diversity and inclusion, you should probably think about it, Democrats. You should probably have some honest conversation with yourself and say, maybe, just maybe, this whole thing is BS. This whole thing is stupid. We shouldn't be supporting this. But you won't, because you're all about power and you love that whole power thing. You get excited. It's always money, money, money. Exactly, Miss Berry. All right, guys, I'm going to work. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Enjoy your day. Enjoy the people around you. And remember that there are Chinese spies within our government. So at least they're busted. At least the DOJ did some sort of job. Thank God Kathy Hochul fired her. 2023. She's on top of it. She's a woman about her business, and we support her. We love her. We're worshiping her. We want her to do better. But Kathy, you got bamboozled, honey. You got bamboozled. You thought you were just getting a nice DEI hire that you could tell the whole world, I got myself an Asian. Turned out she was a CCP agent. Hey, Miss Barry.